When I was 6, I had the horrifying realization that meat was not just some inanimate food item, but actual living, breathing animals. Traumatized, I walked into the kitchen and announced that, "Mum, I want to be vegetarian," to which she replied, "You won't be able to eat sausages anymore." And I said, "Okay, never mind." I didn't have a lot of willpower when I was 6. Back in 2002, vegetarianism was basically the gold standard when considering the lives of animals, and it was kind of weird. I think I knew one kid who was vegetarian, and everyone was like, we should probably bully you for that. On the face of it, vegetarianism makes sense. You have to kill animals for meat, but you don't for dairy and eggs. So it doesn't feel like an arbitrary distinction to make. What a lot of people don't understand, though, is that this isn't really true. First of all, cows don't make milk just because they're cows. Weird that I have to say this, but I genuinely thought that was the case until quite an embarrassing age. Cows make milk because they're mothers, and cows are mothers because we force them to be. We hold them down, stick our arms into their anuses, and inject them with semen. In other words, we sexually abuse cows in order to get milk. Sometimes people will protest at the use of the term sexual abuse because they're like, well, it's not like animals are smart enough to consent. Yeah. Here's a weird question that will keep you up at night. If we can do this to cows, why can't we have sex with animals? It's wrong to sexually exploit animals for pleasure, but it's fine to sexually exploit animals, force them to have babies, kill their babies, and then kill the animal so we can have cheese, which we then eat for pleasure. It seems a bit inconsistent. Imagine people spoke about bestiality the same way we speak about dairy products. If we said things like, yeah, I know it's bad, but I can never give it up. Just really love animals. I'm not sure we'd find that very convincing. As said earlier, once they're spent, dairy cows are sold for beef anyway, and any children they've had along the way have either been killed or turned into another dairy cow. Eggs are much the same story. They're born, they lay eggs, and they're killed. Unless they're male, in which case they're born and immediately killed. This is the state of these industries. They're guilty of everything vegetarians hate about the meat industry, and a lot more. If someone is ethically opposed to killing animals for meat, they really have no reason not to also be opposed to eggs and dairy. These practices aren't just performed by a few bad apples or industrial farms. They're intrinsic to making these products because the people that make them run businesses. And businesses can't look after excess animals. They have a financial incentive to discard them. Sometimes people will advocate for vegetarianism by saying, yeah, but it's all about reduction at the end of the day. One important thing to note about this argument is that even if we accepted it, it's not an argument for vegetarianism. It's an argument for using vegetarianism as a means to an end. You can still be reducetarian and eat meat. Nothing about the position stipulates that eating meat is unethical, but other animal products aren't, which is what the vegetarian says. I'll add though, reducetarianism itself is flawed. What's implicit to ethical reducetarianism is that consuming animal products is wrong or to be avoided. Otherwise, why be reducetarian? Surely the act of reducing something is an acknowledgement that it is, in some way, bad. However, if we think that something is bad, why give ourselves a kind of budget to continue doing it? Imagine you discovered that I was being abusive to my dog because I was raised to and I get a lot of joy from it. After recognizing that the dog deserves moral consideration, I say, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't abuse my dog, so now I'm just going to do it on the weekends. This sounds absurd, and it doesn't even have to be something as extreme as this. It could be cutting in line at the bank. If I cut in front of you, would you permit it if you discovered that actually, I used to do this all the time, but now it's just a treat? This is another weird aspect of reducetarianism. An action becomes good or bad relative to your previous habits. So if I eat cheese every day, that's bad. But if someone who used to eat cheese 3 times a day cuts down to once a day, it's now good? Where's the standard being made? Do animals matter or don't they? It's a totally nebulous approach to animal ethics. This video isn't intended as a kind of takedown of vegetarians, but rather an attempt to point out that if you think you ought to exclude meat from your diet on behalf of animals, maybe that's indicative of something greater. Maybe we should just stop treating them as commodities, full stop, and start treating them as the individuals that they actually are. As usual, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you next time.